Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back for another episode, and I'm absolutely thrilled today to have with me James Love. James is the general manager at Blue Roan Coffee, and we are going to talk about Blue Roan. We're going to talk about James's professional background, and we're going to talk a lot of coffee. So, as everybody knows, it's all about the coffee. So, James, with that incredibly long-winded introduction, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Could you tell us a little bit about your professional background and what you're up to today?
Sure. So today I'm general manager of Blue Roan Coffee here in town. It's an organic coffee shop, and we make our own syrups using organic agave nectar. A little bit about my professional background. I have a 4-year degree from Portland State University, used to be a satellite of University of Oregon, grew up in Oregon, around the huge mecca of coffee in Portland. And so it was always part of my life growing up. By the time I was 16, I was drinking lattes and drip coffee every day. So it was always, special to me. And as I graduated with a degree in public health, I had to make the decision, as any college student graduating does, what am I going to do with all this and help make the world a better place? And something just kind of clicked for me. I learned how to roast my own coffee, and I thought, that'd be kind of interesting to make a different type of coffee, a coffee that's healthy. And so as I reached into the world of roasting, I found that the quality of green beans, unroasted beans, can vary from one place to another, even within one country, from one city to the next. You can get vastly different quality, not just because of soil, but because of processing and the money that goes into it and the economy of the country itself. And so I started to really dive into that and look at the difference between Mexico beans and like a Colombia bean and Brazil and all the classics, and then the difference in flavors between countries too, even continents as well. Africans are very fruity, South Americans are very nutty and chocolatey and sweet, and so just a whole world opened up to me, and I found, how do I relate this to health though? And for me, it was sorting out all the bad beans. Most people don't know that there's a ton of rotten and moldy and insect infested beans that get into the coffee that gets roasted and just put into a bag. And when you roast coffee, it goes from green to brown, and you really can mask any sort of defect. And so like the coffee world knows about all this stuff. We've known about this for decades and decades. But it's just, there's 2,000 to 3,000 beans per pound. And so you're talking about a volume to sort through all the bad stuff that's just not fiscally, doable. And so we've basically just been drinking beans that have, a bunch of bad ones mixed in for years and years and years. And who knows what the health effects are. They've just been getting into studies now that find ochratoxin A, different types of mycotoxins or just bacteria that live on even roasted coffee that make it into your cup. And ochratoxin is like the number one driver for disease if you really look into it, metabolic diseases, nutritional diseases. And so for me, it was like, how do I, just as a small business, how do I kind of extrapolate this knowledge into a product that people can buy and have accessible to them, and also educate them through the process? And so that bore the company Purissimo, which was a coffee roasting company that I created with a friend of mine out of Dallas. And I was hand sorting beans every single day. I was up till midnight most nights, roasting, sorting, packaging, doing mostly everything myself, really just trying to get a product out to people that wouldn't hurt their belly, wouldn't give them the jitters, wouldn't have sour stomach, wouldn't give you all the things that we kind of just typically expect from coffee or used to expect from coffee. And, I came from Portland, so I had the influence of third wave coffee and craft coffee coming onto the scene maybe before someone in, say, Kerrville. And so I was running that company here. I started in Portland, but then I moved it here into Dallas with a buddy of mine. And man, it was a lot of fun, but it really pushed me kind of to the brink as far as small businesses go, where I had to try and find a way to scale the coffee sorting component to creating a top quality product. And I was also trying to offer it at a price point that's comparable to what you would buy in the store. So, it's obviously you can make a great product that you put all this energy and money and time into, but if people don't have the opportunity to buy it or the money to buy it, what's the point? Nobody will be able to enjoy it. So there was always a balance there. But when we hit a point where we really needed to scale up in production, we had a man who had been in vision detection software for 35 years or something, family friend of my buddies. And he was building us a prototype sorter. And so all the sorters on the market now are $50,000 to $1 million, and they basically just sort by color. And we had this man working for us on vision detection software. So instead of looking at color, it was programmed to look for different types of defects. Those machines will just sort based on color. And so it's a very simple process, but it's an extreme amount of money, especially for a small business to try and finance something like that. So we had an engineer, a vision detection software engineer, building us a prototype in Washington State. And we were looking at building something that we could sell to other companies too and create a brand new quality standard for coffee. Basically, what ended up happening was he was always 6 months behind. COVID hit, he got recruited to work on viruses and literally engineering vaccines as treatment options for people. So he ended up doing something much more important than what he was doing for us. Right at the same time, my wife's father came back, who was terminally ill. We were about to move to Dallas. It just, God worked in a very mysterious way to say, let's pump the brakes and put this on hiatus for now. And so that's what we did. And I honestly thought for several years, as the whole world recovered from COVID and all of that, that I might never come back to coffee. I was semi-retired. I was living comfortably. My wife and I were traveling. And then all of a sudden we had a baby come along. And so I'm 39 and our first child comes along and I'm thinking, well, I'm got to at least get some part-time work. So I just did some HEB work on the side, a little bit of curbside, and quickly realized I'm very overqualified for this position. So, made the best out of it, but then I just prayed and prayed really hard for about a week, maybe two. And all of a sudden, just one morning, I got this lightning bolt in my head, and it was Blue Roan Coffee. And so I had known about Blue Roan Coffee, but like I said, I was kind of out of the coffee world. I didn't really want to come back. It was a bit of a bitter ending for me. I had these great aspirations, and I really wanted to provide people with something really cool and new and healthy for them. And it didn't really pan out. So I was still a little bit mad at God for that, I guess. But he gave me an opportunity and said, go check out Blue Roan. So I did. And, first impressions, they didn't have a roast label on their bag, which we're working on. And that kind of threw me off because I'm very much into the weeds on the roasting component of it. And so I'm already looking at, are they top notch in that regard? And sat down with the owner, said, hey, what's your story like? I'd like to know why you guys are here. She said, oh, we're only organic coffee. So, okay, well, that's interesting. That piques my curiosity. And she says, I've had a bunch of health issues, and through treatment for those health issues, we found that coffee is one of the most sprayed products. It's got not only herbicides and insecticides, but also fertilizers. And so we're finding out now that it's not just those the insecticides, the things that keep pests off the coffee, but also maybe the things that we're spraying to keep them growing that might have a deleterious effect on our health. And so that was huge for me. I can't think of another coffee shop within 100 miles that does organic only coffee. And then she told me they make their own syrups. They use agave specifically because not only does it mix well with the flavor of coffee, you've probably had honey in your coffee before, but honey has kind of its own flavor and can take away from the flavor of coffee. So they really wanted to deliver that true coffee taste in their drinks. And utilizing agave not only brought that out, but also if you're aware at all with the glycemic index or sugars in general, diabetes is huge. You can't really get away from sugar. I think the best option with taking your sugar in is having some sort of fiber to it and the least amount of refinement. So at the shop, we offer only agave nectar, raw sugar, honey, things that are very minimally processed and have some amount of fiber left to them, because that fiber that's connected with the sugar when you take it into your body is what sequesters it and makes it slower release and not such a huge insulin response to the metabolic system. So that was huge for me, just the fact that they paid attention to that at all. You don't usually get that with a coffee shop. And so that got me a little bit more interested. I said, well, how did you guys get into, who does your roasting? She said, we do it all ourselves. We have a broker that works with smallholder farms. We only buy small batch stuff so that we know that it's not sprayed. It doesn't have anything bad with it. we offer them a little bit more money too, because I took a Peru trip in 2016 with Purissimo, and going and visiting all those farms in, I think it was Villarica, up just over the Andes, flew into Lima over the Andes, 16-hour bus ride, overnight bus ride, which was fun. And meeting all these coffee farmers, and they're literally working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, if not more, for break-even prices. And so it's because they don't have a massive factory farm that they can sell 20 to 30,000 pounds of beans at once to someone like Starbucks or Nestle, who will pay them bottom dollar for maximum amount. They don't care about the quality. They just want to fill as many containers as they can so that they can ship it over here so that they can have the coffee to roast and sell to us. And so that was eye-opening, just truly heartbreaking to see people working, breaking their back to provide us with something that we just take for granted every single day. It was emotional. And I really wanted to go back to them and give them everything. But we couldn't. We were a small company, and we really tried to pivot towards that. But, we didn't have the means. And so now being able to come back kind of full circle, join on with Blue Roan, be a part of something that really highlights them, gives them something to keep growing, is huge for me as well. On top of that, the Papua New Guinea that we source is probably our flagship roast. It's called the PNG, Papua New Guinea, PNG for short. Papua New Guinea has become pretty popular lately with the coffee scene. They're becoming a pretty big producer. But that PNG specifically, our broker makes sure that it gets tested for 400 different chemicals. Everything from mycotoxins to fertilizers to insecticides. We make sure that there's absolutely no mold, no nothing to that. And so that's kind of our linchpin for showcasing what we do. It's not just organic, but we also go the extra mile to make sure that it's tested too. Because you might be able to say, oh, it's organic, but there's something wrong with it. Some people can hide behind buzzwords. So we try to be as true to what we're offering to the community as possible.
So what brought Blue Roan to Kerrville?
Oh, good question. I'm not part of the ownership group per se. I came in about a year after they had opened. It's a small family owned operation, the Webb family. Jody and Collie Webb own the roasting side of the business, and that's all based out of Hallettsville, which is just north of Victoria. It's about 3.5 hours away. They roast everything there. They have a roasting facility. Then we bring it here. And so the two daughters of the Webb family, Peyton and Bryn, are the owners of the coffee shop. So the whole operation is family owned. Parents are roasting, and the gals are making the drinks and selling it here in Kerrville. And so we're frequently moving between the two areas, and we have a bunch of wholesale accounts, and even CBC Church in San Antonio is buying our syrups all the time. They have a cafe within their church that they source all of their syrups from us. So we've got, fingerprints and footprints in that whole corridor between Kerrville and Hallettsville.
I was going to ask you if you could assess the Kerrville coffee scene, but maybe I should start with, is there a Kerrville coffee scene?
Wow, that's a really good question. When I was roasting and we were living here, everything was based out of Dallas, but I was roasting here, and everything ran through Dallas, but I had the roasting facility here. And at the time I kept thinking, man, it would be so great to have something like Blue Roan, have something within my dreamscape of providing to the community. And I just felt like it wasn't time. I felt like everyone I talked to, they wanted cowboy coffee. They wanted dark roast, nothing too much in the weeds, not too concerned about transparency, which was different for me because I grew up in a very developed coffee culture in Portland. Portland is one of the top 3 coffee cities in America. And the market is extremely saturated. You have to be differentiated to some degree to stand out because there's just so many options. But here there's your Starbucks, your Scooters, and then we've got Lyft and PAX and us, Blue Roan. And so there is a huge distinction between someone like us and someone like Scooters or Starbucks. They're completely automated. Their whole model is built around speed and getting as many cars through their drive-through as possible. and that's worked for them. That's a great business model for growth. It's a great business model to end up buying farms and having direct trade partnerships with them so that you can dictate the prices on everything and dictate how your coffee is grown. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're providing something to the community, a cup of coffee. And if that cup of coffee doesn't lift the overall health of the community up, I don't think you're really serving them. So we not only offer the organic coffee, make sure that the product itself is good for you, but we have a real espresso machine, a La Marzocco. It's a $37,000 machine. We sunk a lot of money into creating a product that doesn't touch plastic. It only touches metal or glass. So we put a whole bunch of energy and interest into creating something for the community that they can come back to and not feel guilt. Know that it's not just a multinational that just wants their money so they can keep growing their impact on like the global economy. We want to create an impact for the people that live here and the people that, maybe online too. We're trying to grow our virtual space as well, but really the community is everywhere, right? Because this is a product that anyone who drinks coffee can consume. So I would say that the coffee scene, I know I kind of deviated from your question there. The coffee scene is kind of split between the multinationals and the small ones. Lyft, PAX, ourselves, we're small companies. We have a vision. We try to create a very quality product and a quality atmosphere, and we try to deliver that to the community. Those big box stores they have a different mentality. They're about bottom dollar, quickness, quantity. And so just kind of different tracks for success. They're probably going to get there faster than we are, but we're going to be able to sleep at night. It's kind of the way I see it.
So your physical location is what I'm going to call on the east side of town, closer to Schreiner University. Does that influence your customer base, or do you draw people from all over the city?
Oh, that's a really good question. We've noticed people will come in and say, "Oh, you have great coffee. Lyft has really good food, but it's all the way over there in Ingram." And so I really wanted coffee, so I came over to you guys. So we kind of send business to each other, I think, in that regard. But yeah, I've definitely heard from customers that, we're on this end of town and the other guys are on that end of town. Or if you're a downtown business person, you're probably going to go to PAX. So I think location has a huge impact. And we do pick up a lot of college customers. When we had the state legislators here last week, they all came in. We had a ton of senators in our dining space at one point. So we definitely get the traffic on that side of town. Absolutely.
What's down the road for Blue Roan?
Down the road, let's see, what do we got? We've got pretty much everything. Whataburger, we've got banks, we've got churches, we got Schreiner. Let's see, G Street is right there with the river trail.
What's down the road for the company?
Oh, what's down the road? I'm so sorry. I thought you meant geographically. Down the road, we're trying to expand our virtual space, trying and expand our presence online. We're also trying to add to our food menu and increase afternoon traffic. But yeah, really the sky is the limit for us. We have a ton of coffee to provide. We have a ton of drinks to provide. We might have a second location. We were inquired about last year with Croc Center. They have an inside cafe. They really wanted us to come into that space and provide free coffee to their membership, but we just felt like it wasn't fully aligned for us to offer free coffee at another location. Would kind of devalue our shop itself. But we've had interest, so I know that there will be opportunities for us into the future, just to be the ones that fit the best.
You brought a couple of coffees down, fortunately to give to me, but I was wondering if you could describe each bag you brought down and then what the process is that got it into the bag.
Perfect. P&G is the one that I mentioned earlier. It's sourced out of Papua New Guinea. It's organic. It goes through 400 different chemical tests to make sure that it's as pure as possible. It's a washed and it's medium to dark roast level. So pretty standard for just about anyone. P&G typically has like a buttery taste and more like figgy fruit flavors. There's a whole wheel of flavor profiles for coffee, but that's what this one tends to be, more plum on the fruity flavor profile. The the espresso is a Colombia blend, excuse me, and it's medium dark as well. We tend to go about that route with most of our profiles because it's the most palatable for everyone. And it's sweeter, a little bit more chocolatey, a little bit of nuttiness. And it's the espresso that we use in the shop. So if you come in and get a drink, if you come in and buy a bag of our espresso beans, you're getting the exact same coffee that we make for you in the shop.
James, unfortunately, we are near the end of our time for this episode. But before we leave, I wanted to ask you if our listeners wanted to find out any more information on Blue Roan online, where would they go?
You go to blueroancoffee.com.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.